All right, guys, welcome. This is the first ever episode of the PXL Podcast. We're going to be going over our OTA wish lists, our initial thoughts and impression on Mr. Fantastic First Steps, and a quick go over of all of our favorite cards in the game. I am Roram Plays. I am going to be the host for today, and the other three with me are Heart of the Carks, Cougar, and Smiles. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves real quick?
All right, I guess I'll go first. I'm Cougar, two O's and three R's. Member of the Pixel clan. I like making a lot of new decks and streaming some high level gameplay. I've peaked at number one in the world, and my top finish was number four global. So
Nice,
try
dude.
to try to have a good vibe and have some fun in my stream.
I'll
I
go
love that,
next.
dude.
I'm Smiles. I can't really stream because I don't have the infrastructure to, but I do YouTube at youtube.com/snapacademyyt. The channel is Snap Academy. I'm another top infinite player. I've been as high as outside of like week one. I've been as high as rank number two in the world, and my highest finish currently is rank number 19.
Nice.
I am Heart of the Card Snap both on Twitch and YouTube. On YouTube I mainly focus on educational content. I'll go over math, deck building theory and all that. Sometimes I'll do a deck building guide, whatever I feel like
Sick.
at the time. Otherwise Winnie the Pooh over there kind of just carries me and tells me the plays in the back of my head as I play Surfer.
Awesome. Winnie the Pooh speaking to you, Hart.
Yeah, that's how all my plays come about. So
Oh
if you're
yeah,
losing to me, you're losing to him.
he's whispering sweet nothings in your ear.
Yep, exactly.
He's pulling the strings.
Heart of the Cards is just another puppet to Winnie's grand design.
Hart wouldn't be good at chess. Can't bring Winnie to a tournament.
That's funny. All right, well, it's been the start of a brand new season. We've got three new cards that entered Snap, and we'll probably go over the other two in a future podcast. But I think we want to start off with Mr. Fantastic First Steps. Is that right, guys?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So, what are like some thoughts, pros and cons of Mr. Fantastic that you guys have just realized right away? We'll start off with Heart and then go down the line.
I'm be completely honest. I think people are like sending him to the moon, and I have not felt it. I play an archetype that should be really good with him, but like he is legitimately the. It feels like the worst card in my list. He's more like a okay, I have a chance in this game card, then I can build up like a steady game plan with it. So some of the time, Mr. Fantastic will be the goat, but some of the time he kind of just falters and like gives me like stuff I just don't need. Like I just don't end up playing the card, or like he's giving me a -1 cost on Galacta, who I'm playing on turn 4 anyways. And it's like at that point he's kind of useless. For me at least he's been useless, but my deck is also a lot less flexible than people on curve. So I only ever really need like one cost reduction, or like there's only a few targets that really want to get buffed. And otherwise the buff is like alright, but he's not like playing for as much points as I find as the other two drops.
Interesting.
I think he's pretty strong contender for one of the best twos in the game, in my opinion. He's another one that's good at cheating out 4 drops. You can add him to the suite with Zabu and Surge. But yeah, like Hart was saying, you really only need him to give you like one buff on the target you're looking for, or one discount on a key target. Like I've played him in my Dokken Surfer, so if he hits Dokken or my Brood, it's like boom, he's playing so above rate. And then if I am playing him, I was playing some Black Knight. If I'm playing him in that, and I hit a Shang-Chi or something like that, or the Ebony Blade, my turn 6 is just so opened up. So I think he's very strong and he's pretty flexible.
Interesting. I feel like I disagree, like with Hart, and then only kind of agree with you, Cougar. Like some of the pros I see regarding Mr. Fantastic First Steps is one, like he is just such efficient energy and buff Like he's so efficient. For 2 costs, you can get turn 2, turn 3, turn 4, turn 5 worth of buffs. Maybe turn 6 if you're playing Magic, and he's just so powerful in what he can do because it is information asymmetry where you don't know what buffs they got in their hand. You don't know if they're going to have a 1/3, 1/5 Shang-Chi or a 3/8 Brood in their hand. It's just that information asymmetry is what makes him really strong. The cons that I have regarding Mr. Fantastic, though, is that I'm personally getting a little tired of all the energy cheating, like 2 costs that they keep making, like Surge and Merlin and Mr. Fantastic and even Kale. I know we have some Kale lovers in this chat right here. Ain't that right, Heart? And smiles. No, Kale's terrible. But I just think that it's just a direction of like hyper aggressive ramp and buffing that Mr. Fantastic First Steps offers that I don't personally like about him.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna start this off a little bit, talk about Surge. I think Surge is a bit of an overrated card. I think people are saying Surge is like ridiculous. It's like it should go in every deck and all that stuff. I think that's a little too high on the card. It's definitely good, but I don't think it's as like permeable everywhere as some people may suggest. I think that this card is how people is as good as people rate Surge. I think this card is just incredible. When it comes to the flexibility you have with Energy Cheat for a 2 cost in this game, this guy is giving you basically turn on turn value just no matter what. I think we can look at this through the context of Fastos. Fastos is a 3/4 that you're going to draw, what, 3 cards of that game. So you're going to get 3 Fastos procs that game on a 3/4 body, and you don't even have like an area of cards that you know it's going to hit. It could be really anything in your deck. When you have Mr. Fantastic there, you're getting a proc on 2, 3, 4, and 5. So you're getting 1 extra proc, and you kind of know around what cards it can hit, and you can better formulate your play lines that way. I think this card is just taking all the problems of Fastos, removing them, and making the card a 2/2. Considering they've been so careful on Fastos' balance, like throughout the entire history of the game, printing him as a 3/3 is only a 3/4 now in a world of 3/5s, like copycat. I think this card is just quite a bit overtuned. I think is the best word to say. I think this card is definitely very good. I mean, I've been playing this card in Tribunal. I bought Kale to play Tribunal, which
That's crazy.
goes back to what I'm saying. But this card's been great. Like no matter where I put him, he always feels like one of the best cards in the deck. I'm very intrigued with this guy in more heavier curve surfer list. I know Hart plays a relatively low to the ground surfer curve list. I like Absman when I play surfer, so I might be trying him out there when Torch comes out as well. I think this card is very good and it can enable you to run higher curve stuff, which I tend to like.
Yeah, I would also like to add, like you guys brought up Kale a few times. It's crazy. She's a 2/2, and this guy's a 2/2. Like what? She can't. He can't be 2/1, or she can't be 2/3. I don't know. Just a little thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing I really like about Mr. Fantastic the most is like how he's bringing back archetypes that were kind of dead. You know, like High Evo is one of them that I've been playing a lot recently, and I love the way that you can just slip him in on pretty much any turn because you are trying to energy cheat out. There are some cons regarding Mr. Fantastic where if you don't play him exactly on 2, he is a significantly worse card. That's the same thing with Surge and with Kale, and like most of these 2 costs, honestly. And so that is probably like one of the biggest downsides of Mr. Fantastic. But even then, if you can sneak him in on a 4, like, or even a 3, he's still going to generate so much value for you over the long term. Where I think that the downside of not playing him on 2 is not big enough, if that makes sense. Like, it needs to be a slightly bigger downside.
Yeah.
I think one of the main differences for me is I feel like a lot of decks have the flexibility to like play this guy on like 3 or 4, and he still feels nice. for me, like at least the decks I play, it's like really he plays on 2 or he almost always feels bad. But when he does play on 2, he feels like reasonably, I think, the second strongest thing to do in my list.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's like if you play him on 2, he's like the strongest card in the game, in my opinion. Like he's just generating so much value, but then his fall off from after 2 needs to be studied for real.
I'm not sure do you know the percentage off the top of your head that you'll see him on turn 2?
Way more often than it should happen.
Yeah, way more often. I feel like
It's
you
5 and
plan for it
12.
to be
It's 5 and 12, which is
5
like
and 12.
40 something.
almost half. That's not a bad downside.
That's higher than 40.
Yeah, it's no, he's super good, and I personally think that he does already feel like a prime candidate for either a nerf or a touch up in the future, just because of like adding Surge, adding Mr. Fantastic, all of them together kind of creates snowball effects that I think people will get really tired of quickly, is my guess.
What do you mean we'll get?
Okay, well, most people aren't like us where we're chilling, in the top
That's
100 of
fair.
the game and play hours on end every single day. Most people are pretty casual.
Yeah.
And so while we're already freaking tired of all these cards, they're like, dude, this card's super sick. They're like, this is a way fun new card to play, and then give it like 3 weeks, and they're like, okay, I'm kind of done with this stuff already.
Just calling out my habits.
I don't know, I'm not getting tired of playing this guy in Tribunal. I got 1,000,000 power in every lane today. It was fun.
That's awesome.
fair-
That's
that
so
is
sick.
pretty
To be fair,
awesome.
when everyone's talking about Fantastic, I think Herbie is like being so overslept on because Fantastic came out. Because Herbie, at me, has felt like it's an amazing card.
Yeah, isn't he just like 2-6 at minimum?
Yeah, but then you can do a bunch of fancy stuff with Herbie as well.
Yeah.
Herbie's
It's crazy, like how slept on Herbie is. Herbie is so good of a card, and I actually think it's mind-boggling that they made him a 2/3 with all of his upside that he has, and yet people don't play him because of this guy right here and Surge, where they're taking the show from an obviously extremely powerful 2 cost.
Is it crazy to say Herbie's better than Surge?
By far
Yeah.
better. Not even
No,
close.
I think that's crazy.
I think
Not
Herbie's
even
better.
close, bro.
I think Surge is getting way overrated.
I
Just 'cause
think I think-
this is the thing with. Okay, the reason I think Fantastic is that much better than Surge, just like as like a prerequisite, is because you know what it's gonna hit and you can kind of play around that. Surge, you don't really know that, and although flipping like a Shank to a 3/4 is very powerful, playing a 2/6, basically playing a card that's either a 2/6 or a way better Kale is strong. There's not a time I've played Herbie where I've sort of like regretted it and I feel bad about it. Even playing Herbie on 5 is just strong. Like no matter what you get, it's
I
a
think-
3 and 4 to get at least a 2/6 on 5. That's pretty good, I think.
if I may
Whereas
interject,
Surge, it's like some games Surge. I feel like Herbie gets that value every game, and Surge, it's like some games he's really good, but some games like, and I think the deck. I think Surge is just serving more as like the lubricant to the deck as opposed to like something that's like making it run. Whereas Herbie is sort of kind of adding power to the decks.
I think you guys might be suffering from a little bit of a honeymoon effect, to be honest with you. You've been playing with Surge for a month or 2 now, and you're like, okay, she's strong, she's good, but these new cards are also good, and they're also fun. I think that Herbie is up there with Surge and Mr. Fantastic, but I think that the energy cheat and the information asymmetry is still too strong, because you know which activate is available at the turn that Herbie either activates or is on the turn that they can do it as well. You can see it on the board. But Surge still offers that information asymmetry and energy cheat that I think is still extremely strong. Now her downside is more limiting compared to Mr. Fantastic. Like Mr. Fantastic can just apply those buffs every single turn, while Surge you have to play the charged card to get it again. I still think she's insanely good.
I've played like 300 games of Herbie already, and when I say I think her synergies are like people don't realize that you can make an entire deck around her synergies, and then like the 2/6 is a 2/6 that synergizes into playing like a 3/12, and then the plus power gives plus power to other things that multiply it. The energy chi gets out like another 2 cards, and then the other one, the rock, can synergize with like filling up locations and all that. Which there are cards in the game that literally just say fill location, give power.
Yeah, and I'm not downplaying the fact that Herbie's really strong, but Herbie needs to be explored more. Firstly, but secondly, Herbie's only found a natural home in Surfer decks so far. Like every other deck is still spamming Sam Wilson, Surge, and Mr. Fantastic first steps.
I think Herbie's gonna get in the just the general buff deck as well. Just even getting the double, or even getting the double or the +2 energy. Both those are extreme high rolls. Like if Herbie's gonna be like a 2/5, 2/6 when you play him every game, whether it be just like buffs in general from it. I mean, with double, that's just a 2/10, and 2/10 is like unbelievable stats. Like if you can get one proc on this guy from any buff, like that's most of the time that's a +2, like, and you just get the double, it's just a 2/10. And there's something to be said, like not even about the energy Gs, it's about the raw points of that. And even the other stuff, like you're getting +4 from 2 of his other abilities, one of them fills. And
Yeah, I mean, but the problem is it also is RNG. Like, you have to get the buff on him, and then get the double spell, and
Yeah,
get it in a timely fashion after that.
yeah. When you're
But I
playing it
think
so
there's-
late, you only see what like one or two of the activates. Like say you
I think-
you Gwenpool and then put it down on 5, you have one shot.
Yeah, I think there is something to say about like a card that says 1 in 4 chances I just win the game flat out, and then 2 in 4 chances I still just get value from it, and like I could just win the game somewhere else.
What's the 1 in 4 chance that you win the game flat out?
When it's like double and you're playing like a 2/14, a 2/10, it's like you just play the 2/10 on turn 5 most of the time. You're winning that game flat out.
Mm.
Like it's just
Oh,
so
I
many
wouldn't.
points.
I wouldn't categorize the double one as one that you win flat out. I thought you were gonna reference the energy cheat one. To be honest.
No,
with
if you get buffs on the double one, I feel like your opponent's playing like I don't know, like a 5/14, and then you're playing a 2/14. You're just so ahead.
So what you're saying is Bruce Banner is an automatic win the game because he's a
If he
2/12,
doesn't get Shang-Chi every game.
you know
All right.
shit
Well,
all
since
too
we've
well.
since we've I was thinking we could save the other 2 cards for a future podcast, but since we've already talked about Herbie and Mr. Fantastic, we might as well finish off the suite with Fantasticar and our thoughts on that. How many of us have gotten him is the first question.
Not me.
I got him.
I got him too. So it's only me and Smiles. Okay, so what's your guys' impression, because you don't have him, you faced him though. Like, what's your guys' thoughts on Fantasticar?
I've beat it. It's whenever I've seen it, it's just been that high Evo deck, and it's very weak to Shadow King and Shang. So I played a fair amount of it while I was running my Shadow King Shang
Okay.
in Black Knight, and yeah,
Well,
it got teched.
my opinion on the card is I think it's a good card. I think the shell it goes into is a bit not the greatest. It could probably be a bit better the actual shell it goes into. But over time I think cards that are like age amazingly well as like more end of turns that are actually good come out, and it's not just playing in high evo, which is like it feels like a bad deck that's getting carried by a good card to be playable.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what other shells can be made as we get the rest of the cards this season.
Okay. Smiles, your thoughts?
Okay, so I have not played this card yet. I have some theory crafts for this card in the future. I only got it with the premium, the SPSP, whatever you want to call it, just because my token economy is dog shit. I think that this card actually looks pretty strong when we get the last card this month, Invisible Woman First Steps.
Okay.
new deck that I'm building that tries to leverage a lot of these end of turn cards, just getting out stuff like Bob Macari, and then plans to activate IW16, get a double Havoc trigger, which I think is very powerful. Just getting that in with the Fantastic card buff, that's a 210. And I think that just having that deck be a thing and that deck getting like a Spectrum on release is something powerful. I think Fantastic card is definitely a good card. I don't think it's a must-own card. I don't think you have to buy the SPSP. But I definitely think that if you're interested in those like end of turn decks and your token economy is bad, it's not a bad deal.
I think I might be the only one that here that is like super hyped about Fantastic Car. I'm not gonna lie, I love this card. This card's like a 413 every single game. Like he's huge. He's awesome. He's so big. I think he brings life back to High Evo, which, let's be honest here, a week ago, High Evo would have been one of your worst decks in the game, like just flat out. I love playing it with Professor X and being able to sneak out wins that way. But I think I'm more excited for the future with Fantastic Car, where you have that Invisible Woman for steps, and you have the Human Torch and the Thing and all these other end of turn cards that you can build around with him. He's just going to be a lot of power going forward, and so I think the card is going to find a good place in the meta.
Yeah, I think it'll end up being a solid card, like you said, for 13, like kind of at base is what he's playing for. That's just a lot of numbers.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think the card is just baseline good. Like, even if you're only getting 2 procs, that's a 411, and that's just extremely strong already. I mean, it's a 411 board wide, which we know that spreading that power across multiple lanes and making it harder to chain Chia card is definitely an upside of the card. So I definitely think that Fantastic card is going to be a good card. I don't think it's going to be meta defining like Mr. Fantastic over there, but I do think that it's pretty good and it will find homes, and it's honestly pretty good and above average for a Series 4 at this point.
All right. Well, perfect then. I think we've covered all the new cards, so we might as well go forward to the main topic of the podcast today, which is our OTA wish lists. We have 10 buffs and 10 nerfs that we're going to compile together and discuss which ones we want and which ones we want to get rid of. So let's start off with Smiles. Like, what's some buffs and nerfs you want to see happen?
All right, so I got a list, but I'm going to start with a nerf that I have wanted since Roram said it, and I have been dying for this nerf because I think this archetype is too good, and it's been too good for too long. I want Human Torch to a 1-1. I think that the amount of move scalers in this game is getting too much. I also am a known hater of move bounce, so there might be a little bit of bias there. But I do think that with all these new move decks coming around, I think they're very strong. I think they're all like some of the best decks in the meta, and the only really effective counters are Mercury and I guess a Shadow King. So I think that by nerfing one of the scalers, and I think Torch is the best one, I think by nerfing one of the scalers, you sort of make the deck less consistent in a sense that you're getting less high rolls and less points, which I think is definitely a needed thing with move.
Okay. How many of you guys agree? I agree with Smiles. I think Human Torch should be a 1-1. The scaling on this card is absurd. Like, Deadpool's a 1-1, and you don't space 164 Deadpools every other game like you do with Human Torch.
I personally wouldn't like this change, but I think if, like, say we live in the world where they're gonna do this, I think they should at least give Aranya the extra point back to still have that high roll potential and just make it more difficult. Like, I'd be okay if they compensated a little bit, but 1-1's like that's tough. That's tough to get built up.
What about you, Hart?
I am really move bounce pilled. However, there is a future card coming out named Sparky that is just Aranya too. And if they keep on printing cards that move a card and give it power, I think Torch at 1-2 is just a problem. It's like, why are we printing Hulkbuster like 3 times? But it also buffs up the card and like basically destroys it if we're thinking about destroy it. It moves it again. and then Torch just gets value and value and value. So I think if they keep printing those cards, he has to go to 1/1. So I would agree.
What's Sparky?
Sparky is Aranya, but instead Sparky moves when a card moves, it moves it back and gives it +2 power.
Yeah, you can make it 1/1. What cost is Sparky?
2.
Okay,
Well, that
yeah,
card's not been printed yet, so we'll keep it.
that's true.
That card's in the
We'll keep our thoughts on this current OTA going forward.
Yeah,
Now,
1/2
now based
torch
off
will
of
be an
new
issue
cards.
with that.
Because, like, we had that issue with Beast where they nerfed Beast because Toxin was going to be coming out in 2 months, and we're all like, what the heck? Why'd you nerf our boy?
I know. And they
They were
nerfed
correct.
Taskmaster early before Madam Web came out. They do that every now and then.
Yeah, but
They
Taskmaster.
just did that.
I actually would
Like
have rather seen the Taskmaster Torch meta come out because
Just dies to Shadow King.
well,
Right.
they were like so scared of it, but then they also talked about how 5/9 Spider-Man 2099 was like the best card in its deck. So like I have my own reservations on what they think is really good or not, you know.
Yeah.
That was a time.
All right, Smiles, what's a buff?
A buff. Okay, so there's a few that I like. Depends how spicy we want to go. I'll come swinging right out of the gate. I want Isan to go from a 6'10 to a 5'4. And I know it's very dangerous taking this card below 6 cost. So I'm going to explain why I think you need to make his power a -6. So we all know that Isan really wants to get out before 6. So we can get multiple turns of value. We'll look at the cards that Isan really uses well. One, Arishem, but honestly, I think Arishem probably needs a little bit of help after Monty was nerfed. And it looks like Cassandra Nova might come back because Hart is putting it in his surfer list right now. Second of all, I think that the Iron Patriot and Valentina package with Isan is good. It's something I've used before. It's something I think is relatively decent. But I think that getting Isan out on 6, you need to justify ramp in the deck, and it's very hard to justify ramp in the deck when you're running IP and Valentina, I think. So, my solution to this is 5/4 Isan. So, you're playing a 5/4. You're taking the liberty to include a 5/4 in your deck, which is terrible. People say IU is bad stats, and he's 2 points less than Infinity Ultron, who admittedly has some pretty weak base power. You're playing effectively like a 2, like worse than a 2 cost on turn 5 in terms of raw power, just so you can cheat these cards out. I think that Isan, because of how awkward it is, needs to cost less than 6, but also he can't have much power. So I think that 5/4 is where I'd want to see him.
But you can't say that he's just a 5/4.
He's not
Like
just a
on
5/4.
turn 5, he plays technically as a 5/4 plus.
Correct, but you're
So-
also sort of making yourself more vulnerable in that lane if the cards you pull are big, because then dies to Shang and all that stuff, and you're taking some of the generated cards, which are the power in your hand, and moving them sort of to that Isan lane. They can always abandon the Isan lane if the cards are too big, and then their big cards and then you're sort of wasting your turn 5 by playing in a lane that's already abandoned, that kind of stuff. I think 5/4 could definitely work for this card.
Okay. Cougar Hart, do you guys agree, or what are your guys' thoughts?
I'd like to see some change up with Isan. I think Isan at 6 has proven to not be a viable strategy to play. So I'd be cool to see it experimenting at 5/4. I think it still is like begging for a Shang-Chi in that lane if you're pulling down 6 drops, like say you Nick Fury or something, but you don't have to pull down 6 drops. You can get 4 costs, whatever from IP. But yeah, no, I think it'd be a neat little shake-up.
Okay. Hart.
I think the design space at genuinely good like cards that generate big things are so it's not like great. It's like Iron Patriot and like this, in my opinion, like it's just Iron Patriot and like cards that are genuinely good that generate big guys. So I think like Isan a 5/4, like I don't think he would carry a deck to that point where it's like, oh, this feels like oppressive. the other cards are holding back either way, so he would just feel playable at that point, rather than he kind of just feels unplayable right now.
Yeah. I mean, I'm all for making a stronger 5 cost because I think 5 costs are just really bad right now, and there's like nothing you really want to ramp into the game. Like ramping into Isan sounds pretty fun at 5 cost, um, but my reservations for it is, uh, like how easily can you win the other lane? You know, so like if you're winning the Isan lane by a mile, and then you have the other lane, like is it just Airshim? Is it just Red Hulk? Like, do you win the other lane with just a big boy? And so that's why I think you can take a chance on 5-4 Isan. But then if it turns out to be too strong, then I would personally rather have 6-9 Isan rather than 6-10. Just get rid of the whole Shang-Chi so that if you do ramp him out, he doesn't feel like, oh my gosh, I'm just going to get shanked the next turn immediately. And so, either way, I like this change. I think it's pretty cool.
Either way, not either way, but on the topic of Shang, he's on my Nerf board.
Well, then let's go into you, man.
I don't know. I would say 4-2, just at least -1. I would say lower, but then that opens up. He actually has synergy in Mr. Negative decks, and I don't know if it's the world I want to live in where he's getting discounted down to 3. Final turn Mystique and Shang. You could still do that with Ravana, but yeah, I think 4-2 at minimum. This guy's just a 413 plus. He's always blowing up something huge every game.
Multiple things every game, sometimes.
Yes, sometimes multiple. Or some people are bullies and they'll abs man him, or they will grandmaster him.
Would you guys be open to a change to Shang-Chi where he can only destroy 1 card in a lane?
Yeah.
I don't
Like,
think so.
You don't want
I
that?
don't
You want it to be all the cards in one lane, so he
Oh,
plays for a
yeah.
4-23.
I think Shang is fine.
You think Shang is fine? Okay.
Yeah. I think Shang is fine. I think that people are getting a little bit. I think he's a good police card. So like if people are getting too greedy with the buffs and stuff, he's sort of like Shadow King. If it gets back to me, I'll mention Shadow King. I have a change I want to make to him, but I think Shang is just an essential police card in this game. I mean, the game has sort of been in a sense balanced around Shang-Chi for so long, so that even though sometimes it feels like Shang is a bit oppressive and he's in every deck, and I know I've called people, Zenid specifically, lame for running him in a Morgan Le Fay deck when I didn't expect it. But I think that he is fine. It's a frustrating card to lose to, but at the end of the day, if you make a deck that does not die to Chi, it's a 4-3 dead draw, and that's just a lot. You're basically drawing worse than a rock.
That's true.
Okay.
I
Art,
just
your
think
thoughts?
I think the play rate's just so high for it, and it's been so high for so long. I don't know what their meter is, but I'd imagine he's pushing it.
Shang-Chi does nothing to me, and I don't play I don't play Shang-Chi either. But I think he could get nerfed. Like I think a lot of these like tech cards that are seeing a ton of play right now, I think they could reasonably lose like a point, and like people would still play them. Like would a 4-2 Shang-Chi really stop anyone from playing Shang-Chi? Probably not. And that if a card can take a 1 point nerf and like he still would see a ton of play, I think it's a fine nerf to do.
Okay. I'm actually on the same page as Hart. I think you can give Shang-Chi a -1 point, and everyone's going to continue to play him at the same rate. And so basically, just do it because he doesn't need the extra power at that point. And so it makes his dead draw even more of a dead draw. And it punishes people who play him all the time for having a more dead draw than 3 power. Okay,
Yeah, that's where my feelings stem from.
What's your buff, Coog?
Ooh, pick a buff. I feel like Nightmare should not have Mr. Negative stats.
Okay, what would you make him?
I don't have an exact stat line in mind, but I'm thinking maybe like 3-2, 3-1.
Ooh, I'm gonna go 3-1 because
3-1.
That's a 3-2 is a crazy buff. That's a huge buff. It's a 3-point buff on the boy.
That's a huge buff.
Can I
It
go
is.
after on what Kuka said just right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Nightmare was also on my list, so I think Nightmare 100% could get a buff. Like, I don't know why this guy's like 3 -1. He does not need to be like literally. If you look at base stats, it's like 4-6, 4-7. Why is he a -8 on like base stat line? I think he could be like a 3-1, 3-2 and be completely fine. You're still dropping tempo, but you're not dropping like an egregious amount of tempo. You're like playing a reverse, like I don't know, Agamotto when you play Nightmare because you're dropping that much tempo.
Yeah, I think the same thing. I think he'll still be fine. He's not going to be oppressive. The decks you play him in, they can't run the Juggernauts and Cosmos, and I guess they maybe could try running armor, but it's hard for them to run those preventive tech cards. So it's very vulnerable to Shang-Chi. I mean, you're playing it with 410s and with the Infinite and stuff like that. So I think it's a very counterable deck, and it's just like, why is he Mr. Negative stats? Like his effect is not Mr. Negative's effect. It's not that strong.
No.
I'd like to talk next on Nightmare. I don't know. Hart might have pardoned. You guys might have played more Nightmare than me, but I've definitely played a lot of this card. I am on board, but I'm cautious with the 3-1. I think this card is not something that should be in the meta. I personally would go 3-0. I'd lean more on the conservative side with this, just because I think that this card is already very underrated. Just because of just the information upside. I think a lot of people have been building the card wrong. So I think that this card is definitely good. I can get on board with 3-1. But I do think that Nightmare is a bit underrated. I think that another great element of Nightmare is because you're playing such like low power cards in the start. If in my builds at least of Nightmare, you're playing like a Surge, or which will be Mr. Fantastic. You're playing like a Merlin. You're playing a Nightmare. You can effectively get one of your big guys, whether it be like the Infinite or Red Skull, out on 5, and then just win the other 2 lanes and force them to commit a Shang to 1 lane, and you sort of win the other 2. I think Nightmare is an underrated card. I wouldn't want to overbuff this guy, but I do think that this guy could use a little bit of power just because, I mean, -1 is just a little bit ridiculous. I think that was more of a precautionary measure than anything.
I might be kind of a hot take here, but I'd rather take the buffs from Nightmare that you guys want and put them on the Nightmare targets. Like Red Skull, make him a 515, or Typhoid Mary, make her a 411. Like, just buff them up by 1 point and leave Nightmare in kind of this, like, where he does feel bad to play, but you're going to have really big boys to play afterwards and kind of go more into the I have to play these big boys to make up the tempo loss.
I'm going to do a hot take here, and I don't think you should be running 410s in Nightmare. I just think that 4 is just a not great cost to Nightmare. I mean, 4 has a lot of the tech in the game, and 4 also has the big guys. Sure, getting the tech is good, but the tech is only good so often. And I think that like you should be running 3s and 5s. You should be running Red Skull. You could probably even justify like something even like a Hellion. I think that, and also with your 3s, you have the ultimate high rolls on 3s. You have stuff like Brood and Carter and Gambit on 3s that are just ridiculous to play. I think that if you're running Nightmare with 3s and 5s as opposed to 4s, I think you'll have more success with the card. And I think that's partially the reason why so many people think that this card is just card sort of fell flat on release. Whereas I'm just high on the card as ever. I think it's a bit of a bad metaphor because Tech Soup is a little annoying, but I do think that when Tech Soup, or if Tech Soup sort of diminishes in play rate even by like 10% reduction to play rate, I think Nightmare is definitely good.
Yeah, and I was mostly just
I just
offering
think
an
people are
example.
building it wrong, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, and I was just offering an example for like a buff candidate. Not that I play Typhoid in my Nightmare decks at all. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think his targets could use better, but I think that like I find it crazy that there are more 410s and bigger than there are 510s and bigger. Like I think they need to make more big-bodied 5 cards, 5 drops.
Okay.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Heart, your nerf that you want to see.
My nerf is. Give me a second. I want Juggernaut to not keep on getting away with this. God damn it! This guy is like. In my deck, he's a 3-5, but in other people's deck, he's a 3-3 that like wins the lane for free. And half the time, you're like, how do I play around Juggernaut? The answer is you cannot, and you just have to leave. And I think he could reasonably be like a 3-2, a 3-1. Like, there's no reason he has to be able to like go on top of the lane and win it like outright because you're adding like a decent amount of points. Or at least like if they draw it back, it's like okay, you actually need to add a bit more points to this lane to win it.
See,
3-3. I don't know how this guy lasted like 2 years on it.
I want him nerfed to 4 cost.
Yeah, same here. Make you work to play.
I want him to be a
Juggernaut in the
4-5.
I could
Yeah.
see that, but I think a 4 cost would seem little to no play. It's just so awkward to get a 4.
I don't think so. I think you still play it.
You play it just like Luna.
I agree with Hart just because all the discounts right now. I think Juggernaut at 5 power is something I don't want to see. I agree with Hart. I think the solution is
You already see it. You already see it at 5 power.
Yeah, and it's ridiculous at 5 power. Why do you want to make it 7? Why do you want to make it 7 power? Why do you want to make it 8 power? I think that Hart is right here. I think as a card that's a winning the lane on the points card, I think reducing its points is the way to nerf it. I think 3-2 or 3-1 is definitely what you'd want to see.
So you want to make it
personally want to
discounted by
start
Ravana.
at 3-2 and then move to 3-1. There is some stuff with Cerebro that it could get it at the that in Cerebro 2 with Jug getting in Cerebro 2 that might be a little bit crazy. So I'm inclined to say 3-1 is where I'd want to see the card, but I do think it's a power nerf. I don't think it's a cost nerf.
Yeah, I think
it's a cost nerf. I think you need to make him a 4 cost.
I think I'm like 4-4 Juggernaut is where I'm sitting. But I mean, we all agree. Borderline, he needs adjusted. Yeah.
The Surfer players want to keep their broken card.
I don't even play Surfer. I want that one. I'm a V-Ham player now.
Oh, not yeah. Smalls and Hart, and then 4-4 Cougar and Roram. I think we all know Jug needs a nerf though, but I don't think it's just a power nerf. I think he is too much of a win a lane card for a 3 cost card, and I think 3-2, you're scared of Cerebro 2 even more so than before.
Yeah, that's really.
And
scary.
Then 3-1. Now you can play it with Ravana, and now you can just buff it right back to 3-3. People will just throw it right back into the Bast AV shells, and you're totally happy. I think he needs to be 4 cost. I think that his ability is too much. It's too strong to where people can still play 2 cards on the same turn, like without discounting or energy ramp.
Mm-hmm. All right, Hart. Do you have a buff candidate?
This is 100% a Surfer take. I think Shaw needs to be buffed. Like, this guy has lanes for like over a year. An incredible like Surfer has been in the meta like multiple times, and somehow the archetype card they said, oh, this is supposed to be a Surfer card, has never made it into the list, even though he's supposed to be a main card, and he is like, even now Surfer's like super meta. The best list are like, nah, let's not run Shaw, he's ass.
What's your proposal?
I don't know, like, I would say probably start at like 3-5, make him starter scaling.
Starter scaling 3-5?
Yeah, he's +2 whenever.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay. Anyone else's thoughts?
I'm talking
Smiles.
on this. I think Hart's been a little bit more vocal than me, but I am also a Shaw hater. This card is garbage. This card, what's it called? I cut Shaw when I was like really playing Surfer and really climbing, just because it was a Shang meta and the card dies to Shang. And Surfer is a deck that doesn't die to Shang. You're opening yourself up to Shang by investing buffs in this card. I think that this card needs to have stats to justify Surfer running it, because it turns the Shang from a dead draw to a live draw, and Shang is just so prevalent. I think that Shaw to 3-5 just makes sense. I think it's a good buff with the Surfer on it. Even if you don't get any other buffs on, it's a 3-9, which is real beef. If you're just buffing it with Surfer on the last turn, I think that this card needs something, because I think 3-4 is a bit bad. I don't think he'll get a buff. I think lower elo plays him in uses him to some success there because getting the point ceiling is a little lower. But I think that Shaw definitely could use 3-5 or a full rework, if I'm being honest. My original sort of proposed rework to Shaw, I don't know how many of you have heard it. I mentioned it on one very niche tier list Discord VC stream, but it was a 3-2 that doubled in power at the end of the game, which we're basically getting with Torch. So even better on that. So I think that, well, since they took my Shaw rework away from me, I think that Shaw can definitely just be a 3-5 and be some real beef in the deck.
Okay, Cougar.
Yeah, I'm on board too. I when I play against Shaw decks, like 90% of the time, if they're playing their Shaw down before turn 6, I'm snapping them, and I'm probably winning. Like, it's just, if you're not doing the thing where you hit it with your Okoye and your Nakia and it's getting huge in hand, and last turn you're doing like Brood Shaw, he's just not that great of an option. Like Hart said, all the best Surfer decks are not running him at the moment, and they haven't been for forever.
Interesting. Yeah, I have no opinion on buffing a Shaw. I think Shaw's, even if you gave him 3-5, he's immediately relegated as soon as Human Torch comes out. So, like, you can give him a 3-5, and I don't think it would change anything because there's just a better, stronger scaler that's coming out this month. And so I can agree with this buff. I just don't think it will do anything.
I want to say something.
So-
There is something where Shaw might still get in if he was like good enough. But there's like generic cards right now that just feel better to play than Shaw, and that's one of the main problems. Is I can't even justify him in a deck where I'm like fully invested in buffing, because I find Elsa just puts up more points than Shaw, which is ridiculous. There's no reason Elsa should put up more points than Shaw in a buff deck.
I mean, and Elsa doesn't cause you to die to Shang-Chi, which
Yeah.
is the biggest thing.
That too.
All
But
right,
She also just puts up more points.
my nerfs. I want Surge and Mr. F to 2-1. I'm putting them together because they're basically the same card in my mind. And the reason why I want them is I just think they're offering so much value for not even a downside at all. Like, you look at Kale, you look at Psylocke, look how bad those cards are. They're 2/2s, the exact same stat line as Surge and Mr. F, and they don't even get buff. Like, they don't get buffs from them. Psylocke used to be a 2-1, for Pete's sake. I just think that they both should go down to 2-1 because they're consistently giving you scaling and power, and yeah.
Yeah, I don't have much to argue with. I agree, and I agree. Stamp of approval.
And obviously, it
Alright.
might not even be enough of a nerf at the end
No.
of the day. Like, at the end of the day, it might not be enough of a nerf, but it could. At least it's a starting point.
Yeah, at least it's
in my mind.
something. I agree.
I agree. Get him out of here.
Everyone in agree?
Yeah, there's
I just
only
think
one.
the
There's only
fact-
one thing I want to say on this. I wrote down a bit of a different nerf for Surge. My idea with Surge is you actually buffer power to a 2/3, but it doesn't gain. But the Surge card does not gain power anymore. It just loses its cost.
Just
That
loses
was
the
an
negative
nerf I had.
cost.
But so it would just get -1 cost, and you would keep shuffling that. It just doesn't get the power. But I
Yeah.
think that 2/1 is the other acceptable nerf. I think you have to take power from the card somehow.
I think one of the biggest shifts I've seen, especially in my deck building, is like a lot of the time I used to try to justify like 3-cost ramp cards, and now I'm like, why the hell would I ever play like a Hope Summers, a Luna, or any of those cards? I could just play Surge and Mr. Fantastic, and it's like they're
Mhm.
just better.
You can play it cheaper.
You could just play it better.
Yeah. And then for my buff, I want to see a Patriot buff. I want to see a Patriot buff. I want it to be There's 2 buffs that I want to see. Either 2/2 +2 or 3/0 +3.
Yeah, I think
Would-
give him the Cerebro treatment.
Do you think you want to make him already Cerebro? 3/0 +3 Ultron, though, dude. Ultron. You have to remember
Please don't
Ultron
do it.
exists.
Please don't
That's
give
fine.
him the cerebro treatment. Please don't.
Yeah, please don't give him the cerebral treatment. I don't
Please
want
don't.
cerebral to
2-2
have the
plus 2,
cerebral
please.
treatment.
I am all the way on board with a 2-2 plus 2. This is one of my
Yeah.
favorite cards in the entire game, and I haven't been able to play him for like a year at this point. This card, he needs something. If Victoria Hand can be a 2-3, Patriot can be a 2-2. You could honestly probably find some kind of hybrid there where you're trying to get the most value out of like the hood as possible, where you're just like making, instead of like 110 demons, you're making like 114 demons, which is a little bit ridiculous. But I think this card needs something, and I think 2-2 plus 2 is exactly where I'd want it.
Okay. Cougar, do you still are like you're hard set on a 3-0 plus 3 or
No, I'm not hard set. I mean, I'd like to see it. I really like playing those Bast and Agent Venom Cerebro decks that run like the Debris, and they run the Mysterio, and they run the Iron Man. Like, those are so fun. They run Hood, and they can't keep. They're a points deck that can't keep up on points with
Okay.
what we're at currently.
Hart? I just put you as an agreement, but I didn't
I
actually
agree.
ask you.
I agree. I think 2-2 plus 2 makes it like a reasonable card that like you can actually like invest in. I think at +3 board wide, I just don't want to see any card with that. Like honestly, I figured out like I'm running Galacta now and she still feels good, and that's just telling me I don't need +3 board wide effects at all. Like
Yeah.
I don't even like Cerebral being at +3 board wide.
Yeah. I think my biggest hesitations regarding Patriot at +3 is one, Ultron, just boom, the whole board. Now you're putting 1/5 bots all across the entire board. Like, that's crazy. And then two, Moonstone. I think Moonstone, if you made it a +3, then it
Yeah, it's
becomes a
true. She
+6.
doubles the buff.
Yeah, that would be unreal power. Especially because now you could run her in V hand. Like, you could just do the demon stuff in V hand with Patriot now and just make insane cards.
All right. Wait, but real talk. Does he have to keep the 2 power if he goes down a cost? Like, I feel like you're making the V hand comparison a lot, and I feel like V hand is much stronger, and she gets 2-3. Like, could Patriot not at least be 2-3
I
plus
think it could
2?
be a 2-3.
I think it's easier to activate Patriot's ability than it is to activate Victoria Hands.
I think
With
Victoria.
Go
Yeah,
ahead,
I was
Smiles.
going to say. I just think the Victoria Hand needed the extra effort to generate the card, whereas Patriot, you can just sort of play the non-ability cards, stuff like Mysterio, stuff like Debris, stuff like Brood. I think that stuff, just like Patriot, is easier to make work, so I think he can warrant being a 2-2 instead of a 2-3.
That is valid. In my head, it's just like, yes, you need to work harder for the V hand deck, but you're also playing good cards. And then when you're playing Patriot, you're playing like the Debris and stuff. Not all the times, but some decks are not playing the best cards.
Yep. Okay. And let's go back to you, Smiles.
All right, so my next nerf is I want Zabu from a 1-2 to a 1-1.
Alrighty.
I
Who
think
would have
this-
saw that one coming?
I just think that cost reduction is a little too good in this game, and I think reducing the 4s, which are a lot where the most powerful tech cards lie in Shang and Enchantress. I just think that Shang isn't the thing that needs to be nerfed. I think the stuff that's enabling Shang to get below 4 cost is the stuff that needs to be nerfed. I don't think there's a problem with Shang. I think there's a problem with the discounters.
I'm a fan of this nerf proposal, so count me in too, Ron.
Okay. What about you, Hart?
Yeah, I think legitimately all the cost reduction that costs 2 or less can probably just take like a 1-point nerf, and like the game would be better for it. Because right now there's just a bunch of decks that are just relying on cost reduction at like normal stats.
Oh, crap. I actually had a different thought. What if we, instead of nerfing Zabu for 1-1 to 1-2, hear me out. What if he discounted 5 costs instead?
I mean, I'd love it because I love playing 5s, but that sounds a little too good. I mean,
That just
You think
sounds
it's
like
too good?
I think well, depending on what the stats are for it. If it's like if it's still a 1/2 that's discounting fives, like then maybe it's not too good. But just getting IU to a 4/6 just sounds wrong. I don't know if I like that. And Agamotto 2 to a 4/10. Just that IU Agamotto deck sounds a little ridiculous with that.
I'm not opposed to the change, but I think that's just space to have a new card. You know what I mean?
I guess that's fair.
We know that
Just a new
doing
card.
that before. I would imagine they just print a separate thing and give it better stats than Zabu, make it 1/2.
Okay, and I can see a common theme that we have here with our nerf wish list. But Smiles, what's your next buff that you want to see?
I want to see Shadow King to go back to 2/3. I think if we're gonna play with all these stupid buff cards like Mr. Fantastic and Surge and all of that stuff, I think we need the counter to become a 2/3. I think that Shadow King can only see real it's only really good in V hand, and I think at 2/3 it justifies itself in more decks, and especially with the boogeyman of Human Torch First Steps coming around the corner, which I know Hart is very excited about. I think that SK needs a real body to contend with all this buff stuff and give a chance for other decks, like more so ongoing decks, to shine.
Cougar.
I am a big fan. I know they didn't buff Shadow King to 2/3 because of Shadow King the first time. They did it because of trying to nerf Agent Venom without actually nerfing him. But I enjoyed it a lot back then, and I think Shadow King is very hard to fit in decks right now, and I think this extra point would help him a lot.
Okay. Heart.
I'll be honest. There's two sides of me. One, I hate this guy with a passion, but secondly, I just think he's not very good right now, and he could just like get a buff, and like I still think I beat Shadow King decks. So it's like, if I still beat Shadow King decks and the guy can get a buff, I think he needs a buff.
Okay. Interesting. I actually just disagree. I don't think he needs a buff, to be honest with you. I don't think we need to be buffing tech cards, to be honest with you. I think if those other nerfs were actually to happen, I think 2/2 Shadow King is completely fine. I think he's strong. I think he's good in his Cerebro 2 deck. I think that you can build him into your deck, and he becomes like an opportunity cost to play him. And that's what I like about tech cards, is that they have opportunity costs to run them. And my issue with tech cards is when they no longer have opportunity costs associated with them. So,
You know what? That is, you drive a good argument.
So.
My sort of reasoning for the Shadow King is the sense that, like, you're either doing one of two things. If we're going to run around with all the ridiculous buff cards, like, if we're running around with Gwenpool, who's on my short list of things I might want to hit, but maybe not. I think that you sort of with Shadow King, like, yeah, if you're printing all of these buff cards, you need to make the release valve to them a little stronger. And the only decks really running Shadow King that I can think of are V-Hand and the Annie Agamotto deck. Does that run SK? I think it
Cerebro
does.
2.
Mm-hmm.
Cerebro 2 as well. I think Cerebro's a little silly.
Is it though?
I think it is. I don't have it on my nerf list, but I would like to talk a little bit about Cerebro later. I think that if you're going to be printing these Human Torch, Mr. Fantastic, Surge, if you're going to be printing all of these cards that are very much green power cards, and the counter to that is a 2/2, I think you're sort of making those cards a little bit too omnipresent. And there's really two options. You can really nerf all the buff cards. You can buff Shadow King, and instead of nerfing all those cards, I'd buff Shadow King. I think he might even be a little bit too good as a 2/3, but I'd rather the release valve be a little bit too strong than too weak and see that stuff run everywhere.
See, and I completely disagree. I'd rather have the release valve be a little too weak. Like Mobius, when he was a 2 cost, I hated it.
Well,
like he was too strong. That's the example of the release valve.
That wasn't a little. That was way too strong. I think Shadow King's perfect points number is 2.5, but I just think 2/2 feels a little bit too weak. I think if there was half power in this game, and Shadow King, I think Shadow King should be a 2.5.
That's crazy. All right. Okay, let's move forward. Cougar, you're up now.
All right, I say nerf Merlin.
Ooh.
I propose that his location change spell should only give him 1 power, not 2.
See, I argue it shouldn't give him power at all.
I would be totally fine with that as well.
What are your guys' thoughts? Heart and smiles.
I agree with both of you. That spell should not give
I
power
think the
or should
location
only give one.
change should not be +2.
You
Like,
want
we
+1
we
or no?
crucified Nocturne because he was a 3/5 that changed the location. Merlin is literally just a 3/5 that changes the location, and both of them are predictable. Like, you could tell when Nocturne was going to change the location. You could tell when Merlin's going to change the location. They're both on the board, and they're both just 3/5 essentially.
Okay. So you want it to be +1 or +0?
+1 or 0 either.
Yeah,
See,
either.
I'm leaning more towards +0. I don't think I like Merlin. I actually really love Merlin as a card. I think his power is really cool and being able to manipulate the board. I personally don't see why he needs to get power from his spells. I just don't see it. Like he's giving you so much utility. Why does he also have to get power from it? So I'm for +0. I don't know about you guys though.
I'm
Yeah.
fine with that.
Yeah, leave
I'm incredibly
+0
down
down.
with
Yeah, I just think he was giving old Scarlet Witches that got that card got nerfed. It was too good at 1/2, and he just is a factory of those. So
Yeah.
yeah, there should be some cost to having that location change.
Okay. And then what's your buff that you want to see?
My buff. I think they need to revert some of the high Evo nerfs.
Okay.
I did not write down exactly which ones, but I think most of the old high Evo cards were fine. I think Hulk might have been a little too strong just because he was ongoing and counted. Like I like that he has to be in your hand,
I think
but
the only one is you can't revert Wasp.
yeah,
The
Wasp.
rest of them are fine.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same. I'm kind of the same way. I was gonna say I don't remember exactly what the old versions are, but no, yeah, Hart said it right. Wasp being a 0/3 is too good.
Okay. I think Wasp would actually be fine reverted.
Really?
A 0/3.
I'm joining the majority here. I think Wasp cannot get reverted. I think everything else can.
Okay. So you think Hulk, Thing. Wait, is Hulk something you want reverted? Or is it just
Yeah.
Thing?
Yeah, Hulk and Thing.
You
Okay.
can revert Hulk.
So
Looks pretty
Thing,
evil.
Thing, do you want to add any other buffs to Thing? Because honestly, a 4/9 is still terrible. It's still horrible when you have Laufey that exists in the game who steals.
That is true. Laufey does eat his lunch. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to them. Like, I just think the cards need better abilities. I think they need to just buff the abilities that High Evo gets. And I didn't have anything proposed, but even something like a Shocker, when's that ever seen play inside? Like, why would you play Shocker and you could play Surge in your deck or Mr. Fantastic? But I think, yeah, Thing and Shocker could be better, 100%.
Is that fair to say? A Hulk revert and then Thing Shocker rework?
Yeah, that's fair.
Do you all agree with that, or are you guys not vibing with that?
I think we can pick definitely revert Thing. And then I think we can pick one of Hulk revert or Shocker rework. I think both of them might lead to Haiva becoming a little bit too strong because keep in mind with all this stuff, we had 4/4 Haiva on release. We now have 4/7. That's much less of a dead draw. I think that if you're good, you always revert the Thing. I think that card should obviously be reverted. I think it's really bad right now. But I think that you can only pick one of a Hulk revert or a Shocker rework. I mean, with Hulk, you're getting 6/really big. And with Shocker, you're sort of getting that cost reduction. I think both of them together might be a little bit too strong. But I think that if you pick one of those two, I think it's good.
All right,
I
cut the
think-
Hulk then, yeah.
I'm gonna cut the Hulk and then just keep Thing and Shocker reworks
I like it.
because they're both
put
just
HE there?
terrible.
fine with that.
Like I'm actually chilling with Hulk right now. I think Hulk's a very fun card to play. Obviously, the only buff I'd probably want to add to Hulk is give him +3 scaling instead of +2, which it could be too strong, but Red Hulk just eats him for lunch. You know, like why would you play Hulk when you could just play Red Hulk? You know, I play Hulk because it's based, and I have a cool variant for it. But Red Hulk technically is just a better card to play in that list over Hulk. I don't know.
Get on to the next one now.
Okay, so does everyone agree with this? I'm assuming.
I'm incredibly down to buff high evo. I think the card quality on high evo is like really, really bad.
Yeah, I think it's pretty bad. Pretty terrible.
All right, who are we up to now? It's
Me.
Heart, right?
I'll start with a buff this time. I think Electra can get buffed to destroy 2-drops. Like 1-2 drop. Because like with all these like printing not at 1 cost, I think she would go up in cost, like a 2/1 that destroys a 2 or something. Because we have like answers to 3 1-drops already. Electra being like a one-time destroy would be at least a little relief valve to like literally every season we're getting busted 2-drop, busted 2-drop. What are they gonna release in a few seasons from now? A busted 2-drop season pass again. So at least like we have a little release valve to kind of like bring down the play rate of that a bit and like have an answer.
Interesting. I don't know how I feel about that one. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
I'm not agreeing here. I think just destroying a 2-drop is really, really strong. I think that add 2/1. I think if this card really has any power, it's not good. I mean, Electra is sort of, in this case, destroying an opponent's like a core part of their game plan, which is often a 2-drop here, and you're just sort of, you can still play your own 2-drops and stuff. I don't think I think 2-drops need to be looked at, but I don't think the answer to them is printing a release valve like Electra here. I don't like this change. I think Electra should continue destroying ones.
Okay.
I think I'd tend to agree that I like Electra just destroying ones, but I will say if they're content with how these season pass 2-drops are, like if they don't if we don't see any Merlin nerfs, any Surge nerfs, any Mr. F nerfs, then I would be very down to print a card that says 1 cost or 2 cost and destroy your opponent's 2 cost. Because if they keep making busted ones, like there's not much you could do. I mean, besides Red Guardian, but even then, you just play Sam Wilson. Oh no, play a good card. So I don't know. I think 2-drops are a bit of a problem child, but I think I like Electra where she's at.
Okay. I think you could make this ability if it was an activate and not non-reveal. Where it's a 2/3 activate, destroy 2 cost here. Kind of like Cobra, but a change where you can't just bounce it and destroy a bunch of cards. Like that's the biggest worry is if you bounce Electra and you destroy a whole bunch of 2 costs.
Oh, that's true.
Then you're really in trouble at that point. So
yeah, I'm down to make it unactivate.
What if we change the buff to just Cobra 2/3 destroy 2-drop? It's the same ability and all
buff
that.
Instead, yeah.
I'm even less on board with this now. Making a 2/3 that destroys the 2 is, I think that's a little insane. I think you guys keep talking about all the tech cards and how you want all the nerfs to tech cards. I mean, we see there's Shang-Chi, Juggernaut, both of those guys, and Merlin Location, which is tech too, and you're just printing another tech card. I don't like this.
But it's also a tempo. It's also a tempo thing where Electra is a dead draw on 6 at that point, and then also you have to play it in a lane that does have a 2 cost. Your opponent now has the freedom to dodge that ability, so you can only really reasonably play it on 3, 4, and 5, and then you still have to activate it. And so after that, you've already gotten a bunch of triggers off of the 2 costs. That's like the only thing I can see Electra destroying 2 costs being reasonable without being insanely broken. Because if it's bounceable, then it's broken. I think what's it called? I think
The only way I could maybe get on board with this is a 2-1 activate, but then I think it's bad. I just don't think we should be printing more tech. I
Well,
think the tech we have in the game is fine.
Well, then what would you do with Electra? Because obviously Electra
I'd just
sucks.
keep her the same way. I think she's fine.
Yeah, but
I don't
I
her
think
don't
she
think
needs
she
a
ultimate
buff.
is.
I
gets
don't
I
think
think
she
she's
needs a
utilized
terrible.
nerf.
no longer so much.
no,
I
she's
think
better.
I think what's it called? I think Killmonger might need a nerf, not Electra needing a buff.
Are we fine to change this name to Cobra? Are you guys on board with that? If we change this name to Cobra, I'll put my stamp on it.
I don't really
That
care
I
what card
agree.
it is. Yeah.
I don't
But
have Cobra, so I don't care.
I was gonna say another reason why I don't think it'd be too problematic if you make it the activate is that you have to, like, say you want to destroy their Surge or you want to destroy their Mr. F. You have to guess what lane they're gonna play it in, because if you're playing it on 2, and if you're playing it later, then they already got all the value at it. If you play it on 2, then they just know, okay, not playing a 2-drop there. Like, I don't think it'd be oppressive in any way.
I was just offering suggestions. I actually don't think we need this in the game. Like a destroy 2 cost card. I would rather see like maybe a buff to Lady Deathstrike if that's the case, if we're gonna add stuff like that. But
But still,
I'm
they get turn 2,
I know.
3, 4, like, they get all the value out of it. Who cares
I
if
know
it dies on 5?
it's just hard because Electra's so bad. In Cobra, I don't have him, but I'm assuming he's not that great either. Let's be honest here. If we had that Isan buff though, then Cobra starts cooking.
Yeah.
Give me
True
that
that.
Isan buff, please. I want to cook. I think rank 1 with Isan.
So I don't know if you Cobra. I'd rather have it be Electra than Cobra personally. I think Cobra is actually kind of a cool design spot where the 2/3 activate destroy a created card here is like something that you can actually design into and kind of work with. I think it'd be fun, but I think I'll leave my stamp off this one.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Onto the nerf.
Yeah, onto the nerf.
Okay, my nerf would be both Frigga and probably Prodigy, but I'll put Frigga for now. But I think Prodigy might need it, like, not, like, literally, like, 2 weeks from now. I think they should both be a 3/3 because they are, like, these decks that, like, really, really, like, snowball and do cheap stuff, and then they're just playing on-rate 3s to get, like, I don't know. I play a 3/4 to get a 64 power Human Torch. Prodigy, I play a 3/4 to make my lane 240 power with Carter. I just feel like they don't need to be, like, that high of stats for stuff that already are doing really cheap stuff.
Interesting. Smiles.
If you didn't put the Prodigy here, I'd be sold. I think Prodigy is a little bit more fine just because it's asking you, I think, to do a little bit more with the back row stuff and sort of angling your cards better. I think it's a more higher like skill cap card because you need to be playing multiple turns in advance to really get the best use out of your Prodigy. And I'm fine with keeping that card in the game at a 3/4. I can get behind Frigga. I'm a V hand. I play a lot of V hand, and Frigga is definitely very powerful in that list. I can. I think Hart's kind of speaking from his vacuum chamber of #1 surfer player when it comes to nerfing the Prodigy. I think Frigga it's used in V hand very well. It's used in move bounce very well. I think both
Used
of
in
those.
Bullseye.
I think that card can take a 1-point nerf back to its original stats, and it would still be fine. I would nerf Frigga to a 3/3. I'd keep Prodigy 3/4. So I give a half stamp on this.
I think I'm in agreement with Smalls. I could see Frigga losing a point of power. You only play her when you're doing something stupid with her. But Prodigy, he just doesn't see the amount of play to warrant a nerf. Like, that kind of just feel like out of nowhere.
Yeah, I'm fine with just Frigga. Prodigy's literally, I think, my favorite card in the game. So me saying a Prodigy needs a nerf, I just think he's really busted. But that is my vacuum chamber completely.
Okay. Honestly, I don't think either of them need a nerf. I don't think Frigga or Prodigy need a nerf because, like, there is so much build around with it. Like, if you nerf Human Torch to a 1/1, and, like, let's be honest, what are the main things you're friggaing? Human Torch, a move card,
Vulture.
or Victoria Hand. And
Or there's
Victoria Hand
also Bullseye list with
or
Dakin.
Bullseye list, which is Bullseye even good?
Yeah, but I
Like,
feel like Frigga only gets better with time, and we've seen like it started with just Bullseye, and then it's like 3 lists now. It's gonna be like 5 lists later. Because whenever you're doing something cheap, Frigga just says, "I do something cheap times 2."
so you want to nerf it now, not knowing what's coming, just because it could be broken.
Well, I think it's already a card that's just overstated for what it does.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it needs one, but like if that popped up at the next OTA, I'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Like I could see her taking a hit, but she's not nearly as oppressive as a lot of these other ones, like Merlin or Zabu, or going up the list.
Okay. My turn. My nerf is kind of a hot take, I think, but I don't even know if it is. I want a 6. I want Gore to be a 6/7 +1.
Whoa.
I'm on board. I hate negative. Make that deck a lot worse, please. You have my. I give this 3 stamps of approval. I love this.
I think
Keep this
Gore,
one far away from me.
I think Gore as a 6/7 +1 would still be decent in Esme decks. I think it would still be good in big stat decks that you need. I think this purely takes it away from negative. Now we could just hit negative instead, but it's been 2+ years. No, through almost how many? 220. It's been 3 years now, and they love their negative. They haven't changed him at all, even though he's crazy. But Gore is pretty cool of a card, and I like his design space. I just think that Mystique and being able to copy it a bunch has made him be really, really, really strong. And I think this would mostly target negative, to be honest.
I can go.
Okay, Hart, we
I just don't. I like the change. I don't like the number on. I don't know if the 7's good enough because Gore is genuinely the most vulnerable 6-drop in the entire game. He gets
Okay.
like railed by every tech card imaginable. Like Enchantress rails him. Like there's so many tech cards compared to like a Red Hulk who gets to like let's say like a 16 power. I see Gore getting to like 16, 17. So I think he could honestly be like a point or 2 more. And
You
that
think
would
he
be a
could be a
better change.
6/8?
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
I'm fine with 6 as well.
Then I'd be
just
okay
think
with
the
it.
biggest
I just think
difference with
it'd be too weak otherwise.
Okay, that is
Yeah.
my nerf option. My buff. I think a buff that I've always wanted to see, but have never been able to see because of what's it called when they have their early game play? What do the devs like to say when it's like the first series and they don't want to change the early?
Keeping
New
up
player
player
experience.
Yeah, new player experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't like to do their new player experience change up, but I want a Namor and an Orca buff to honestly +10 if they're alone in their lane. I know it's massive. I know it's huge. Okay? But think about it. A 4/16 by himself is Namor. Is huge. But he's by himself. That's all. You know how easy it is to get 16 power in a lane, 17 power in a lane? An Orca, though, is a little bit too strong, maybe. 21 power. I don't know. Can you guys get 21 power in a lane really easy? Or is that just unreasonable? Is that too hard?
I think this is not my stamp of approval. I think the problem is that you're getting with Namor 16 power from a single card. Like you can invest the entire rest of your game in your other lanes and maybe winning one with Jug. And just like win one lane with Juggernaut, put a Namor in another lane and just stack the third with just a numerous amount of points, like some stuff like maybe like a buffed Carter or something like that. I don't I don't think you can put plus 10. Maybe I think Orca needs like a full rework as the card. Maybe Namor can be like a plus 8. I think like a 414. Maybe plus 7. That gets you to 413. That's big. I think one of those numbers. I think 10 is just a little bit way too much for way too little effort.
I think you're correct. We could do Namor plus 8, but I think Orca should be plus 10. I think Orca a 6 cost, 621, and he's the only card you can play in your lane. You need it to be big. Like that's barely bigger than Infinite.
I was gonna say I can hop on board if we're doing that. I think giving them
I was
both
gonna
blanket
say
plus
too.
10s is too much. But like you just said, Orca being 1 point bigger than the Infinite under the restriction that he has to be the only card in his location, like I'd be fine with that for Orca.
I'm down for Orca plus 10. I am not down for Namor.
Yeah.
What about Namor plus 8?
What's he getting currently right now? Is it
He's
plus
a 4/6. He's plus 5 right now.
plus 5?
So he goes from a 4/6 to a 4/11, and then if you add 3 more, he'd go to a 4/14, which is
That's fine.
2 more
That's
points than
Marvel.
Galacta and not Galacta, Gwenpool and Ares, but you have to play him by himself.
Yeah, I think I'm fine with that. I'd maybe want to air a little lower, but I don't think he's gonna see much play anyways.
Now the question is does this just destroy the new player experience? Because
I think we get rid of Namor and we just go Orca plus 10, and I'd be more than happy to put my stamp of approval on this. I think Namor is like a card that, like design-wise,
just-
a 4 that wins a lane doesn't really like. We don't need 1/4 that wins a lane, but like a 6 that wins a lane is like a genuinely good
you have
design.
a 3 that wins a lane, and you want to keep him at a 3/2.
True. But he's also a Series 3, not a Series 1. I don't know. Series 1 cards are like weird, where like Orca's like also a Series 3, not 1.
I think Orca plus 10 is probably or I think Orca plus 10 is fine. The Orca rework I'd want to see more is him going down to like a 6/8 that scales based on like empty location spots across the board.
They'll just make that a new card though.
Yeah, but I think
Oh,
that's better as an
look.
Orca rework. I think that Namor and Orca share the same design space. I think Namor should be the one that buffs himself, and Orca should be the one that gets the rework.
I would put my stamp on that if they were just like ongoings, like plus 2 power per empty board space.
That's just a new card though. Like that, they're not gonna change Orca to be that when they could just make a brand new card to do that and make money off of it. Like
I think what we do
reworks
here
are.
is put the R for Roram on Namor, and then for the rest of it, you can put it on Orca.
Yeah.
But I think we all agree on
Well,
Orca, and none of us agree on Namor.
I'm fine with making Namor a 7 though. Make him a 4/13.
I'm fine with
split the
Namor to
difference.
be a
I'm fine with
7.
7.
What about you,
I'm chill
Coop?
with that. I'm
Okay,
chill with
everyone.
that.
Just put that there. Just
Yeah.
Namor plus 10 is a little bit. It's a little bit nuts.
Hey, I like it
Yeah.
though. You know,
That's a Michael change if I've ever seen one.
hey, you know what? We have Michael right now. Okay.
Yeah, I really like that idea though, as far as a rework for the Namora type archetype.
I just still think Namor at plus 7, even as a new player, like you're just not gonna play it. You're not. It's a 4/13.
No, no,
like,
you're not.
And so, like, what, like, can we, like, if you aired a little bit on the risky side with Michael in mind, a 4/14, you might play, but you might not still. I just like them. I like their design spaces, and I think that they are completely useless because they just don't have enough power. They've been power crept completely out of the meta since year 1. Actually, it was like in the first 4 months that they were power crept out.
I like Orca, like, because it's a 21 power. I don't know, you shove a claw in there. We got 28 in a lane. That might win a lane.
Okay.
Like, I think Orca's interesting. I just don't. I don't know about Namor. I don't particularly like his design space compared to Orca.
That's fair. All right, so now we have 2 left in both sides. Is there any buffs or nerfs that you guys are dying to include that we haven't talked about yet? We'll give these two up open to the floor.
I think I have one buff and one nerf. I mean, I'll only take one of them. I guess I will take the nerf spot.
Okay.
I think Mr. Demon from the Hood should go down to 1-5.
Thoughts, guys?
Disagree.
Disagree.
I don't like
Heart.
it. I think. Okay, I was gonna explain.
Okay, go ahead,
I
Thomas.
agree with that. I think, but I think the demon can take like a point off, and then you can give a point to the hood or something.
Yeah, I mean, you could do that, but you're playing Hood to get rid of it anyways. I just think he's probably the best one drop in the game. He's the ability you want to repeat the most, and you just get kind of paid off massively for doing so.
All right, here's my pushback here. Okay, so let's look at sort of the other decks that are contending here. The other decks are putting forth so many points. We're almost in a space race meta in the sense that everybody's trying to put up as much points as possible with all these new buff cards. So we're trying to nerf the one deck that has the release valve for ongoing that can match all of these points. I think maybe if we start getting in smaller point ceiling metas, I think it's fine. But I think with all the power creep that's happening, I don't really see a justification to bring this card down to a 1/6. I mean, you're playing a 1-3 that you need to justify in your deck. I mean, you do have Misery, but that's only one real justification you can use for. I mean, I guess you can use Merlin, but then I feel like you aren't even doing the best stuff because you likely aren't running V-Hand with it. I think that this card, as it's really a hood nerf, but I think that as more powerful cards get released, the less needed it is to take this card down to 1/5. I mean, maybe in like February or January, you could absolutely justify taking the demon down to 1/5. But I think now I wouldn't do it. If you want to nerf V-Hand, take the point off Misery. Make Misery the 4/8 again. I think that's the card you want to nerf if you want to hit V-Hand. That card's ridiculous.
I'm not proposing that just for B-Hand. Hood goes in all sorts of things. He goes in the Athena decks. He's the linchpin there. He's the linchpin in B-Hand. He's the linchpin in Bounce. You could play him in whatever Merlin BS. Like, he just kind of goes in a lot of spots.
Yeah.
And he's been the dominant one drop for, I don't know, as long as I can remember now.
I think I'm too bounce pilled to agree with this. I love bounce, and I think if we're nerfing anything, V-Hand, the demon nerf is a nerf to V-Hand, bounce, and Agent Venom, and I just don't think those are decks that need a nerf right now. That's my viewpoint on it.
I agree. I don't think that the demon decks are the ones that need to be nerfed.
Now it's annoying. It's annoying seeing a million demons. I won't lie to you. I agree with you there, Cougar. Like when you see a million demons on the other side of the field, and then you watch them all get blown up by Killmonger. It's a very satisfying thing.
that is very satisfying.
Not satisfying. Stop playing that card, please.
If they ever finally nerf Killmonger, then I'm totally on board with this. But until they do, I think one drops, you can give them even more power. A board wipe card that board wipes your entire board of one drops, I think one drops need a little help at that point, in my opinion. Except for Torch.
Yeah, nerf that
Freaking
guy.
Torch.
I'm tired of move. I'm tired of move bounce. I'm tired of move. Sure, you can run Mercury, but that's like the one real true move counter. I'm done with that. Get that guy to a 1/1. With all the move support we've got, get him out of here. That's the nerf I feel most strongly about.
Okay. Who wants to take a buff now?
Art, did you have anything to add on the demon topic?
Oh, I don't know. For me, it's like the one drop space in this game is like when you compare the space of one drop, there's like 2, maybe 3 good one drops, and then like the fall off is insane. And like those 2 to 3 good one drops is like Human Torch, Zabu, the Demon Factory, and like nobody else. So it's like either we buff all the ones, or there's a problem with these 3 ones. It's one or the other.
Yeah,
And I
I'm
agree with the
kinda on
Demon
that.
nerf.
I'm kind of in Heart's camp. Like if we saw other things get buffed, then I'd be fine with it. Like, I just think the gap with its competition is so high, and I also think, like, say we live in the perfect world and some of these nerfs happen on the nerf board, we get, the tech decks coming down. Um, the demon's going to be a lot more impactful than if the tech decks start eating -1s.
Okay. Who wants to take a buff?
I have a buff.
Okay, what is it,
Uh,
Smiles?
Well, there's three I have written down, all of them varying in difference. I think I'll go with I want Diamondback to go from a 3-3 to a 3-4. I think Affliction took a bit too hard of a hit with Hazmat getting 3 cost. I'm not necessarily a fan of reverting that, and I'm more of a fan of giving the buff to the other Affliction cards. I think Affliction is a deck that I want to see a little bit more play than I'm seeing right now. Sure, it's annoying, but I'm seeing like none of it. And I haven't seen any of it for a while. I think with Cerebro 2 coming back and that stuff running Root Cage, I think you can justify to give Affliction some more points right now.
I can go.
Go
Okay.
ahead.
I agree with this because the thing is, what is buffs like? We know buff decks are like one of the best decks in the game right now. What is buff deck's single biggest weakness? Like the actual unplayable matchup. It's always been Affliction because the deck that multiplies power really hates multiplying negative power. The fact that Affliction's not seeing play right now just means it's in a really, really bad state.
Is it because Diamondback was the issue, or is it because they nerfed Hazmat?
I
I think they need to rebuff Hazmat, honestly.
Probably because they nerfed Hazmat, but I think Affliction needs something.
I think I'm more in Rorm's camp. Like Diamondback, I think she's still really good at 3-3. Like, I don't think that's the issue the deck has. I think the issue the deck has is that it just runs so heavy. At least the standard builds.
Yeah,
You run like 4 4s, a 5, a bunch of 3s.
I think you want to. The thing with the Hazmat revert is I think Affliction was possibly starting to look a little bit too good. With that Hazmat, and I think that keeping the Hazmat at 3-3 gives them a little bit more design space and wiggle room, which I think they'd like to keep. So I think you should buff the other card that's like the big lane winner in Affliction, which is Diamondback. I think if you make it so that Ajax and Diamondback are effectively carrying their lanes, I think Affliction looks like a bit more of a intriguing deck. And I'm not that big of a fan of reverting Hazmat just because of like design restrictions and stuff. I think I'm more of a fan of giving the points to cards like Diamondback and cards like Scorpion got a point. Maybe giving a point to I don't know what's another Affliction for Laufey.
Revert U.S. Agent nerf.
I'd love to do that. We'll get into talking about U.S. Agent later.
I love U.S. Agent.
I think it gives us a little bit more wiggle room in the archetype.
Okay, cool. I mean, I'm agree with it. I think Affliction needs a buff no matter what. Uh-oh. Where did I just hit? I hit a button, sorry guys. I think Affliction needs a buff no matter what. I want it to be Hazmat, but if they don't want to do that, then I'm totally happy with a Diamondback buff.
Yeah, I'm on the same exact board as Rorm. Like, I think it needs buffed. It could be Diamondback, but I would like it to be something more cost-wise. But you can't make her a 2-drop. I'm talking a card in the deck.
I think you need to buff something there. I don't know what it is. I'm incredibly down to just buff anything there.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so we have one last nerf, one last buff. Hart, which one would you like to take?
I'll take the nerf.
Okay.
I think Galacta and Gwenpool can take a point off. Like both of them.
Again on Galacta and Gwenpool?
I think these guys are just like incredibly good engine pieces, and like them playing on rate, it's like I'm playing on rate, but I'm also multiplying the buffs. So I'm not even playing on rate, I'm playing like super above rate. And I found like all the decks I use is like I just win way more when I get these guys. And they're not even like the cards that are getting buffed. They're just so efficient at doing what they do.
I can agree with this. More just because I think it'd be fun. I like every deck is like Gwenpool or Galacta centric right now, and it has been since honestly Galacta's release, and it was all Gwenpool centric before Galacta's release. Like it was like add a bunch of buffs to your hand and then win them out. And I like how you're keeping the ability is the same because that's where you really want the pop off to go is in the ability, and you're just taking down a little bit of their points, and I like that. So I agree with you, Hart, on this one.
Put me on it. I'm just sick of Tech Soup. I mean, if you look at the Nerf board, we have like 7 cards that go in that list here for all minus ones. It's just like it can't be super good on points as well if it's focusing this much on keeping everybody else down.
Sign me on. I have Gwenpool 4-6 to 4-5 as one of my nerfs as well.
Yeah.
I think that just you. I mean,
My
I
thing
can
also
you
is
sense
like,
a theme here? A lot of the heavy scaling stuff is the stuff we're nerfing here.
my
We
thing
got
also
Human
here is like,
Torch getting a nerf. We got Surgeon Mr. Fantastic getting a nerf. We have Frigga, which is inherently used in deck with scalers, that gets a nerf. We've got even like Gore and Demon. Both of those are getting nerfed. Those both benefit off scalers. Gore being a scaler himself. I think what we're showing with these nerfs is that sort of scalers need nerfs in this game. They're a little bit too strong.
my thing
Okay.
also with Gwenpool Galacta is like, I play them a lot, and I feel like they there's something about their numbers that are just like they do a bit too much Gwenpool in the sense that like your opponent has no idea what the hell you have. I could have a 3 brood and like there's no idea what the hell like there. And then Galactus is really really efficient at like for multipliers. Whenever there's like any multiplier in your list, she's just efficiently always hitting that multiplier, and she constantly does it. So she never actually plays for her points. She usually plays for like her points plus like an extra 6 value wherever you got it.
Okay, so that leaves me with the buff. And when I was thinking of this list, there's a reoccurring theme that I had in my buffs, and it was Zoo. And there are so many cards I want to buff in Zoo. I want to buff Marvel Boy. I want to get him back to a 3-2. I don't know why he's a 3-1. He's terrible. Um, I want to make Kazar a 4-6. I want to kind of buff up Gilgamesh again somehow. I don't know how we do it. I think he's just not winning enough. The one that I don't want to buff though is Mockingbird. She's on my nerf list. But the buff that I think I'm gonna go with, and I think it might be an interesting buff. I'm gonna do Kyera as a 2-2. And I think the biggest issue for Kyera decks in general was that you can't really fit her very well on curve. Because a 3-4, like it's just so hard to play a 3 cost on like in Zoo decks and kind of fill in that curve in that era beforehand, kind of a preventative tech card. And I just think Kyera has some cool design space that we can't really explore very well because she is pretty bad, to be honest. Like protecting only 1s and 6s is like extremely niche, and you have to build around her for that. But I think a 2-2 Kyera would be fun and be kind of a cool way to explore Zoo as well as other big 6-cost card strategies again.
I will say this buff is really cool. I like the premise of it making Zoo better, of it making High Evo better, but I would be remiss to not include that I would be very scared of this in 2 decks, in Ongoing Thanos and in Danish Hela. I think it'd be very, very strong in both of those, and it would definitely have a home there if it doesn't make the the intended buff targets for Zoo or High Evo better.
Fair
I
enough.
played
That's
this
valid.
card in Danish Hela in. I honestly think this might be slated to nerf in Danish Hela just because it's going to 2 power instead of 4, and that deck really cares about getting its points on the board. You can sign me on for this. I think that's fine. I think Ongoing Thanos is something I'd be very scared of with this card. But I think Thanos has taken enough hits that it can afford to get a new tour here. I don't think that this card is as good in Danish Hala as you're really thinking. It's good. It's probably one of the best 5 cards you can put in that sort of flex slot. The others being Super Giant, probably IU, probably IP, and then like I don't know, Enchantress or something like that. I think Kyra, it's a 2/2 is something I'd like to see. I think it buffs Zoo a good bit. Yeah, not much. I don't think it's that scary in Dench Hella, is what I'm really trying to say. It's definitely good. It's definitely got scam potential. I know I've scammed at least one person on this call with it, but yeah.
Yeah, I was only scared of it there just because it fits in right on curve. Like, you don't have anything you do on 2. So Kyara, that's just free every time. You don't need to pick between actually playing it on 3.
Yeah, but
But
the thing,
I was gonna
the
say
thing with
you could sign me on before
the
Hart
thing with that
goes.
is Danish Hella also really cares about hand size, like incredibly so. So like playing a card on 2 is like a
Makes it
cost.
small. All right.
Yeah, the problem is like bigger hands,
That's
less likely
true.
to hit Hella, which gives you stronger lines.
That's true.
You did bring up a good point though regarding ongoing Thanos that I didn't actually consider, and I still think it might be safe of a buff, but it could be too good. I do like the idea though that it is a Killmonger nerf without actually nerfing Killmonger, which
And
I
it's
think
the
is actually
cool
the best way to
Thanos.
nerf cards is you buff up their counterplay a little bit, unless it's Shadow King. That guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. You're the only one that didn't sign off on Shadow King.
All
I
right.
guess you didn't put my name there, so I guess it's me now. I'm incredibly down with this. Like, there is a side of me with, like, I don't know, maybe there's some strategy that can do that very efficiently, and then it's just very hard to answer. But the other side of me is like, no, playing 1-drops and 6-drops, like, is incredibly, like, a high ask. So I agree with it.
Yeah, I think ongoing Thanos. Then you guys made good points with why it wouldn't be that much of a problem in Hela. But ongoing Thanos, it would definitely get rid of the deck's weakness. But at least like back when it was Thanos meta season, like I didn't hate to go against ongoing Thanos. Like it's a cool deck with a unique premise. If it was the Thanos deck that's running majority of our nerf list, then and it's running Kyra, then yeah, I would hate that. But no, I'm cool with that side.
Cool. Well, there is our OTA wish list: 10 buffs and 10 nerfs. Most of these, probably 90% of these, won't even see the light of day at all. But it is fun to go through them and imagine a world where we do have a 621 Orca. You know, it's pretty cool.
That is really
Just
cool.
have some
All
big
this,
changes.
and we're gonna get a rock slide nerf.
Another Darkhawk nerf because
Four.
Pyrax is coming out.
Yeah, actually, with our internal stats, Darkhawk, it's too good right now. I
Darkhawk.
know
Yeah,
you guys
dude.
don't play against it at all, but it's
We
so
buffed
good.
Misery, so Darkhawk had to take another nerf.
Yeah, we just found because of our buff to Misery, we will now have to nerf Darkhawk to a 5-0.
We're gonna nerf Darkhawk to 5/0 and make Vulture +7 scaling because Move needs another buff.
Yeah, for real though. And then don't forget Doom 2099 is their other favorite
Nerf
nerf
target.
target.
That's going down to a 4- when Invisible Woman comes out.
Oh,
No,
dude,
they're
no.
gonna do
Doom-
another
yeah,
minus
All
one.
the way down.
They're gonna do
No,
another
the
board
Doom
wide
bots are
minus
losing
one.
another power, not Doom
Yeah,
himself.
yeah.
That's crazy. All right, so now we will move on to our favorite cards for each of us, and we will ask why we like them and what kind of decks do we like to play them in. Okay? And I think I'm the one that's starting off first. If you could
I have to put that. Give me
change
a
the slide
second.
for us, King. So my two favorite cards are Gambit and Black Knight. Black Knight is really bad, and I love him though. And I like the idea of where you have to kind of go through like this little adventure where you have to play your cards in a certain order to get a massive payoff. And I think those are like some of my favorite kind of decks inside Marvel Snap, where you have to follow these specific steps in order to win the game. And Black Knight kind of personifies that. That's why I also really love Dormammu as a card, because they're both kind of that follow this adventure and get the biggest payoff. And as you can see, both of them are just terrible. So they both need little buffs, to be honest. And then the other card that I really love is Gambit. Gambit has made for my most exciting wins and my most devastating losses. And I just think Gambit's pure RNG is just so much fun. Now, is he extremely frustrating to play against? Yes. Is he extremely frustrating to play? Also, yes. But I still love him, and I love the way that he can change the whole game just by his ability.
I think Black Knight, incredibly based favorite card. I agree with you. I like the little mini quests you go on, and in general, I'm more of a points decks player, and Black Knight is just one of the most unique feeling points decks to play. And another thing about it too is like I feel like it's a safer spot to put power in because I mean you see it coming. Like they play the Black Knight, you see what they discard. Like you know it's in their hand when how much power the blade is.
But yeah, I just love these cards. Okay,
I
we
like
can go
that.
on to the next person unless either you or Smiles or Heart, you have anything to say about these two cards?
Yeah, I just want to say something about Gambit because I've played an absolute ton of Dennis Hella this year. I love Gambit. He's awesome. My favorite. Well, it uses one of my favorite cards, but I was able to put the Gambit machine gun combination into Dennis Hella, and that was probably my favorite wins that I've gotten this year. That was really fun. Just going Gambit machine gun on 6 in that deck was phenomenal. I loved it. I really like Gambit as a card. I think he's really cool.
Yeah, he's awesome. All right, next card, Heart.
It's on to Smiles.
All right, so my favorite cards are IU and US Agent. I'll start with US Agent. Uh, I just really like the design space of this card. I think that as something that allows small ball decks without all these massive buffs like Fantastic and all those cards, I think that US Agent sort of allowed it to like punch up on these like big card decks. And back when I was mainly a surfer player and mainly a low to the ground sort of player instead of a ramp player that I'm turning into now, I really like US Agent. I think he's a really cool card. I never get mad when I see him because I think that he has a pretty cool deck building cost, and since you're forced to run at maximum like one or two 4+ cost cards, I think this card is good. I think it's a little bit underrated. Uh, if this card gets buffed again to -4, I'm putting this up in the Mount Rushmore 2 drops again. I think this card is ridiculous at -4. I think it's good at -3. This is, it's just one of my favorite cards, and it has been since it released. IU is a very cool card. I am so happy that I got him to work at the highest level of the game. I've been playing IU sort of religiously since he released. I originally played him in Rorem's Esme Quinjet Moonstone Surfer deck. Or I added Esme, but it was a Quinjet Moonstone Surfer deck where you played the IU stones for 1 and you hit them with Surfer, and it was very fun, and I really liked that. And then I sort of moved to him and Dennis Hella. He got buffed to a 5/8. He was just, I think that card was still a little bit stupid at 5/8. And then now he's a 5/6 with 1 cost stones, and now I've made him really work in V hand. That Hand of Ultron list that I made that's really running around right now is one of my favorite lists I've ever made. I think it's really cool. It uses a lot of the deck building strategies that I've learned over the past year, and I just think he's such a cool card. A lot of variants, which I like in cards. A lot of controlled variants, or I should say that I like in cards. Sort of max high rolls and keeps information asymmetry on your side. I think this card is really well designed, and I love it.
How do you feel about the nerf to back to 5/6?
I think it's an overall. How do I put this? I think it's actually a side grade to the card. I don't think it's a strict buff because I don't think it's as much of a ramp card anymore. But this card is really good in V hand. I think that he's completely balanced and good at 5/6. If I don't know what the general player base is doing with this card that got him changed from that 5/8 state in a side grade, not even a nerf, just a way that's not a nerf. If this guy goes up to 5/7, he's out there with the best cards in the game. I think this guy is really good, and I encourage people to play him and deck build with him and try to find the same success that I found with this guy.
Cool.
Yeah, these are two of my pet cards as well. Like it Smiles said, I would not be upset at all if either of these guys got a buff. I like playing both of them. I like seeing when other people play them. They're just really good cards and really fun cards.
I love
I
that.
love US Agent. I've used US Agent so much. I love that guy.
Yeah, dude, U.S. Agent's goated. He's so much fun. This is a great card. I missed -4 U.S. Agent. I'm not gonna lie.
I think I'm scared of it still if we brought it back, but it was so good. I loved playing
It
it and
was.
everything. Like, I wouldn't be
So
mad
much
if we
fun.
did bring it back.
I can't believe people.
Another broken 2 cost.
Card was bad.
Oh,
I
yeah.
can't believe this people thought this card was bad ever.
I know, bro. You and I were like the only believers of
Dude,
U.S.
it was
Agent.
bad. It
I
was slim pickings.
I
I'm
skipped
sorry.
him.
Fun
I skipped
fact,
him when it
I
was
wasn't
released.
playing the game when it came out. I came back to the game, and the first card I tokened was US Agent, because I'm like, this card seems dumb.
He is
It
dumb. He's
at
so
-4.
good.
It was very dumb.
And
But
yeah, I
even at
came back when it was
-3,
-4, and I'm like, this card's incredibly dumb. I'm buying them.
Smiles and I, like we were still in the same community. I mean, we still are, but we were in a different community back then when U.S. Agent came out, and we were the only two who were like, "Dude, this card is busted." Like even at -3, and then they buffed him to -4. We're like, "This card's insane."
This card, well, I didn't think it was busted at -3. I thought it was busted the second I saw -4.
Oh yeah,
I think I might have physically jumped when I saw that. That's how crazy that was to me.
yeah. -4 was probably too strong, but I loved it. It was fun.
All right,
It was
we
a
can
good
get to the
time.
next guy now.
Next is Cougar.
Mine might be a little controversial, but yeah, like I said earlier, I'm a big fan of points decks, and I love playing Afflict, whether it's standard Afflict or whether it's the Abomination variant that I'm known to play so much of. But there's just something satisfying about dropping a 520 on the board, and he has like a little mini combo too with the other cards that you have to play in your deck to enable him. Like, at least when you're playing the high Evo ones, there's like a little deck building puzzle. Like, you need to have the right amount. You can't have too many, or else you're not doing the miles stuff anymore and all that. So I think he's a really fun card. And then Gore, a lot of people see Gore and instantly think Mr. Negative, which I have been known to go through some Mr. Negative phases in the past. I will say I don't take it into Conquest. I think people who run it in Conquest, that's like, oh my god, it's so oppressive in Conquest. On Ladder, you just leave. But I'm a fan of running Gore in anything like Esme, mid-rangey, like Derek's Pixie Gore, or one of my Ravona Moonstone builds. Like, they're just so much fun. This guy's so crazy when you get to copy him and do the Moonstone stuff, or when you get to copy him when he has 3 power already. I'm big fans of both these guys. I think Mr. Negative is like the outlier with Gore, but in all his other decks, I think he's a super cool and based guy.
Yeah, like I said, I wanted Gore nerf, but it's mostly because I want a negative nerf, and I just don't think they'll ever do a negative nerf. If they ever did nerf negative, then you can send Gore right back to this original stat line, because I think he's fun. I think he's a cool card. It's just when he's in negative, it's just so oppressive, especially in Conquest.
Yeah, no, I get how that feels. It's almost like they
Yeah, I
need to make a short Conquest ban list, like ban Arsham, ban Mr. Negative. I don't know. That might be a hot take, but I just hate playing against both those decks
I think Gore's a cool
in that game
card.
mode.
I think Gore's a cool card. I think he's the poster child of Mr. Negative. I hate Mr. Negative more than I think Gore is cool. That's just the unfortunate truth of it for me.
That's fair. I have I could separate my feelings for him.
See, my thoughts on Mr. Negative is, I actually, the reason why I dislike Negative so much is because I dislike Mobius and Mobius. And I feel like Negative is the reason why they can't touch Mobius at all. And so now I just don't like both of them.
That's fair.
Mobius and Negative.
I don't like playing against either of them. I mean, I don't mind playing against Mr. Negative, but Mobius is the necessary evil to keep that in control. And I do hate playing against Mobius.
As someone said in the Pixel Discord, costs must be controlled.
Yeah, I hate both of them. I less so hate Mobius, but negative I cannot stand.
Well, I'm surprised none of us put negative in our nerf section then.
Well, you put the gore there, so
Yeah,
we
you put
didn't
the
have
gore.
to.
That's
That's
fair.
yeah.
That's valid. That's valid.
That's what needs the nerf.
See, I just think negative needs the nerf in general. 3/3
Right.
negative, just the top card. That'd be nice.
All right,
Just the
let's get to
top
hearts.
card.
All right, next person.
Next is me.
Get ready for the shocker.
My favorite cards is actually not Surfer. Big surprise here.
What?
Okay, my favorite cards is
Both these cards
Prodigy and
go
Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson has been in my Surfer decks since I hit top 100. If you look at all of the Surfer decks, they have done something different with Sam Wilson in perpetuity. I just think Sam Wilson is, like, obviously he was broken at one point. I don't think he's necessarily broken now. But I think the depth of his synergies is just like one of the longest lists in the game, and he can just do interesting stuff like in perpetuity, whether it's ball chalk. Recently, I've been playing a lot of Elsa, and like he just does cool stuff with Elsa. He does cool stuff with like everything at some point, and I really like that. And a lot of the reason I like both of these cards is the depth of synergy. I think Prodigy is really underrated. I think there's also like 100 Prodigy synergies that people just aren't playing. Right now, I'm using him in my deck, and I have Corridor, which makes the dumbest, biggest lanes possible. I have Human Torches, who also just makes really dumb, big lanes. I have Herbie. If people don't know how Herbie works, you can copy any activate with Sam Wilson, whether it's active or not active, and you could just copy it, and then he has that activate. And then you could also copy whatever you want, Galacta, all that, and I think Prodigy is just a really cool card for me. He's like a card that plays like 100 different roles, I feel like, in when I play him. He's like the jack of all trades, the master of all.
Yeah. Dude, honestly, your two favorite cards are up there in my top like 5 or 10 cards. I love them both. They're so fun. I think Sam Wilson specifically is like one of my all-time favorite season pass cards that they've ever made. Like undeniably, I think it's so much fun. I think his synergies are so cool. I do think 2/3 with the shield being a 1/1 was obviously way too good. But now where he's at, I think he's awesome. I just think he's fun.
Yeah, I think now that Sam Wilson is not just old Angela in terms of points, I'm very happy to see him around. He's a really cool card with a lot of unique hooks. I like when they make cards that have a lot of hooks, like the Sam Wilsons, the Merlins, stuff like that. I do think they tend to make them way too strong to start, but if they get in a playable state like this, where they're played, where their synergies are, and where they're of needed, they're really cool.
Yeah. Prodigy being good because of Sam Wilson is also kind of cool that they're both your favorite because of that. Like Prodigy without Sam Wilson would not like he would be good, don't get me wrong, but he wouldn't be even close to the same level if he
Yeah,
didn't
yeah.
have Sam Wilson.
Sam Wilson definitely opens up like 100 different like Prodigy angles. Where a lot of the time, if you're not drawing Sam, it's like you have like one or two open. But like as soon as Sam comes on board, it's like the entire board opens up for you.
Yeah, I think Sam's a cool card. I think Prodigy is a cooler card. Prodigy is definitely higher up on my list of favorites, and I think Sam is just. I'm still reeling a little bit from when Sam was a 2/3 with a 1 power shield, which was a time to be alive. But I think Sam is an objectively pretty cool card.
Cool. Well, that is the end of all of our planned discussion topics for the podcast today. We'd like to thank everyone who tuned into the podcast, to our first ever podcast. We want to try and do these every single week, and so that is the goal. You'll most likely find us on Twitch, and we will make a Spotify account for it, as well as a YouTube account to post the VODs for it. Can we get some lasting remarks from all of our guests here and how they can find you again and what kind of content you make? We'll start with Smiles.
Yeah, so I've recently started creating content. You can find me on YouTube at Snap Academy. The link is youtube.com/snapacademyyt. I post a lot of educational content, posting some deck guides, as well as my own podcast, The 8 Cube Circus, which I host, and alongside Denish and Zenade, two other top players in this sort of same community. At Snap Academy, you can find a deck. You can find deck guides. I already posted a full deck guide for my Hand of Ultron list, which is a Victoria Hand Infinity Ultron list that I think is among the top 2 decks in the game right now. So I've posted a full video about that. Stay tuned for more uploads coming likely as soon as tomorrow.
Cool. Heart.
You can find me at Heart of the Card Snap on both Twitch and YouTube. On YouTube, I tend to just post more educational content focusing a lot more on like how like my inner mind works, whether I'm like ranting about something that happened in the game in like the past week or 2 weeks, or whether I'm talking about like how I deck build or giving you a deck guide. I tend to focus a lot more on like theory there, or like problems I'm having with the game. And then on stream, I tend to just sit around, play the game, and that's where like mostly I play Snap on.
Cool. Cougar.
Yeah, right now I'm just on Twitch at Twitch TV/Cougar with 2 O's and 3 R's. Like I said earlier, I play and I have a good time, and I don't try to upkeep my rank, but I end up incidentally being high ranked still. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say I think it might be interesting for one of our future episodes to just talk like deck building. We all are deck builders in our own different ways. So I think it'd be neat if we talk through, each of our own processes, see how they're the same or different.
Cool. Yeah, I like that idea. Awesome. And then I'm Roram Plays. You can find me on twitch.tv/Roram Plays. There's no spaces or whatever in there. I'm the host of the PXL Podcast, and you'll find that on Spotify as well as on